How's it going, everybody out there? Coach Mark here, and today what we're going to be discussing are the keys to successfully building muscle strength. Not just building muscle, although those kind of go hand in hand, but to build actual muscle strength. It's not just one thing, there's actually a few factors that we need to look at to properly build muscle strength. And that involves a combination of proper exercise, of course, also nutrition, recovery, and consistency, and maybe a couple other things as well. We're going to get into each of those. But before we do that, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. And yes, I know my camera's not the best. This is what I have to work with now. We all have to start somewhere, people, but that's okay. But I'll continue to put videos up like this, and let's get started. All right, the first thing I'm going to bring up, and maybe some of you have heard of this before, maybe not, and that's okay if you haven't, but the first thing is progressive overload. And just kind of how it sounds, progressive is slow over time, and overload is increasing, so a slow increase. So basically, gradually increasing the weight, the frequency, or number of repetitions in your strength training routine should basically ensure continuous muscle adaptation and growth, right? But it also has to do with strength. Now, when it comes to progressive overload, if you look at this chart right here, there are things that you can increase to progressively overload, or there's things you can decrease to progressive overload. So you can increase certain things to increase, right? Or you can decrease to increase, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm going to explain. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about when it comes to progressive overload is the most common sense one, the most basic one, and that is just to increase the load. Or in retrospect, you're basically just increasing the weight. Makes sense. The more weight you can lift, the stronger you are. So that's one basic way. Then you can increase the volume. So with increasing the volume, there's three different things that you can actually do to increase the volume of the exercise. You can increase the repetitions per set. You can increase the sets per workout. So if you did like 4 sets of 10, you could do 5 sets of 10. So that's very basic. Or you can increase your workouts per week depending on how much time you have. I'm going to put up a visual representation of what a combination of both of those would look like, a very basic 6-week progressive overload basically routine would look like for you. And then what you can do also is you can increase the difficulty of the exercise. So you can increase the difficulty of an exercise without even adding weight. For example, you can reduce the momentum. So here we go. So now we're reducing to gain. So you can reduce the momentum. And what I mean by that is, you might have heard this term before as well, time under tension. Basically, you're just slowing down the repetition. So for example, if somebody's doing a bench press, they'll take the bar off, they'll come down really slow, pause at the bottom, and then press it up nice and slow. Or if they're doing an arm curl, for example, on the ascending movement, meaning the weight going down, that motion has, 3 to 5 seconds on the way down, get a good stretch, and then on the way back up, it's a nice slow contraction as well. So they're just reducing the momentum, increasing the time under tension, and that will aid in increasing the difficulty. Or they can increase the range of motion. That's another option. And to put that in basic terms, let's say you're doing a box squat. So you're squatting down, sitting on a box, standing up. The box is 32 inches off the floor. Great. Now you want to increase the range of motion. Simple. Use a smaller box. Now you're going down a little bit further. So that's just another way to progressively overload as well. Another thing you can do is you can combine resistance attributes. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been in the gym, or maybe you've seen a video of somebody doing, let's say, a Smith machine, a bench press, and they have bands on either side, these thick rubber bands that attaches to the bar and it attaches to the machine. So basically what they're doing, they're increasing the resistance of the movement without adding any weight. So that is what I mean by combining resistance attributes. All right, so moving on to the second factor that can help with increasing strength, and that would be compound exercises. Now, compound exercises are great because they focus on multi-joint movements like your squats, your deadlifts, your bench press, pull-ups, stuff like that. And basically, what happens is when you're working out more than one muscle at a time, this allows for greater overall strength gains. But that's not all that's great about compound exercises. There are other key benefits that we need to know. All right, so one of the benefits that we want to talk about when looking at compound exercises is that these exercises are pretty much like functional exercises. And what I mean by that is they help stimulate like real life activities. So, for example, if you're moving and you need to lift up a box off the floor, well, you have to squat down, pick it up, deadlift it up, lift with your legs so that you don't injure your back. Basically, just like that. And let's not forget about the efficiency of compound exercises, right? Not everybody has 60 minutes to work out. So because you're working out multiple muscle groups in one exercise, you can reduce the amount of time that you spend in the gym so that you're not running home, rushing around, trying to figure out where your keys are, have to rush out to get out to the door. They help. Something else to notate is that compound exercises have a higher energy expenditure, meaning they burn more calories because, again, you're using more muscle groups. So if you're somebody who is after a calorie burn, then compound exercises is just for you. And this is the last one, I promise. They also improve coordination and balance. So with a variety of movement patterns and a wide range of motion, compound exercises improve joint mobility and both joint and muscular stability. Okay, another factor, of course, would be proper form and technique. Now, when you make sure you have proper form during an exercise, not only are you going to reduce the risk of injury, but you're actually going to maximize the efficiency of the exercise movement. I can't tell you how many times I see people in the gym and I want to go up and correct them so much, but you never know how to read somebody properly, if they're going to be offended. But if they would do certain exercises with proper form, they would be so much more efficiently targeting that muscle group, whether it's isolation or compound exercise. Especially compound, you really want to focus on form because you can really injure yourself. You're really using a lot of joints, you're really using a lot of muscles, so you really need to be careful. I always tell people this: listen, if you are unsure if you're doing an exercise properly, come onto YouTube. There's a million videos to show you how to do proper form when it comes to certain exercises. Or if there's a trainer at the gym that you're using, ask the trainer. They would be happy to, point you in the right direction. Of course, they're going to try to sell you personal training after that, but at least you would get some direction on not hurting yourself. And of course, another thing that you want to do when trying to gain strength, again, these are all key factors that go into one another, is be consistent. But that has to do with anything in life, really. Consistency is key. You can't really expect to go into the gym one day, exercise, and then the next day go in and lift, 100 pounds more than you were. You have to slowly get up to that. And with that slow increase and gain is going to happen with consistency. Now, the sweet spot, I would say, is about 3 to 5 days per week. That shows for good, essential, sustained progress. And one of the most important things, I would say, is rest and recovery. Remember, muscles need time to repair and grow stronger after workouts. Every time you work out, you're creating small micro tears in your muscle fibers, and they need to heal. So basically what I'm saying is that when you rest, your muscles start to heal and grow back stronger, meaning you'll be able to do the same workout with less effort in the future. So ensure adequate sleep and rest days in your routine. And of course, can't forget to mention that one of the most important things about a rest day is that they help you avoid injuries. So you're not overtraining, and then you end up looking like a half defrosted blueberry because you've ripped half of your chest muscle and shoulder muscle off the bone. But you have to know how many days to take. I say typically 2 days a week is great for rest. One of those days being a full rest day, and another day being like an active rest day, meaning you're going on a walk, you're riding your bike, you're doing something other than going in the gym and training. And of course, something else you really want to focus on through this process is your nutrition. Nutrition is key. And just like that old saying, abs are cooked in the kitchen, well, so is strength. So you really want to focus on a diet that's really rich in protein, because what that's going to do is it's going to support muscle repair and growth. But you also want to ensure sufficient intake of carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates, and fats for energy and overall health. Something else that's also really important is staying hydrated. Hydration is also one of those factors that you really need, because adequate water intake is crucial for, muscle function and of course overall performance. Now, there's no exact measurement for how much water an athlete should drink. Generally speaking, an adult woman should consume about 91 ounces, which is about 11 cups of fluid a day, and an adult male requires about 125 ounces, 15 cups a day. However, that is subjective because it depends on what activities any individual is doing. So, really quick fact here: the human body is made up of 60% of water, with muscles being about 79% of water. So you can imagine how important it is to stay hydrated. Now, this one I'm not going to spend too much time on, but I did have to mention it: supplements. Now, yes, supplements, while not necessary for everybody, but supplements like your protein, your creatine, your branched chain amino acids, these all can help aid in muscle growth, recovery, and strength. But again, it's not necessary for everybody. I do have a video, I'm going to put a link in the description, which are basically talking about some of my best muscle building supplements. So you can check that out after this video if you'd like. Okay, and last but not least, this is not really a key fact for gaining strength. It's more of like a pro tip or maybe like a trick, but I surely truly believe in it, and it's called the mind to muscle connection. Now, maybe some of you have heard of that, maybe some of you haven't, and that basically means you're focusing in, literally looking at whatever muscle that you are working out for that particular exercise, and that's supposed to help stimulate the mind to muscle connection to make the muscle work harder. Typically, that is what the gym mirrors are for. Mostly you have very narcissistic people in the gym looking at the mirrors. However, what they're for is to check your form and to actually make that mind to muscle connection. So while you're watching yourself work out in the mirror, you're focusing in on whatever muscles you're working out and hoping that it actually helps you build the muscle or the strength. And I guarantee if you try it, you will feel it. Quick story. So I was working out with a client, and typically somebody who hasn't worked out and evened out their body is one side dominant, whether they're right-handed or left-handed. So I had them on a bench press, and they were getting ready to lift the bar up, and it was a heavier weight. And I noticed that the right side was going up a little bit faster than the left side. Why? Because the left side was a little weaker. I told him, I said, okay, I want you to do something for me. I want you to look at that left arm or that left hand as you're, pressing up that bar. Sure as heck, when he did it, that left side evened up, he focused in on it, and he got it right up. And he was amazed. And that's just an example of a mind to muscle connection. So remember, building strength, it does take time. It's a process. Go at it slow. Do not injure yourself. Please take your time, watch your form, make sure you're getting your rest days, eat properly. And I guarantee if you do all those things that I discussed, you will see progress when it comes to your strength. Now, if you like this video, fantastic. If you want to connect with me and ask me some questions, I'll put up all my connection information right here. Multiple ways that you can contact me to ask questions, and I will see you on the next one.